hit the mute button. Welcome. I thought I'd just bring everybody in at once. Hey
guys, thanks for having me.
Hey Dan.
How you been, Daniel?
Mr. Dan Perrin, right?
Yeah, Perrins, yeah.
Perrins, right? I've seen some of your work. I really appreciate it. And we have a little theme going on here with men's mental health. And Selgovae said Dan's our guy. We got to bring him in. So welcome, buddy. What we do here is I'll let you kind of explain or where you want to take off with things, and then towards the end of the show or halfway through, I start just playing videos and getting blind reacts. I got some mental health stuff and just other conspiracy stuff. I'm mostly kind of a conspiracy show, but men's mental health is definitely a part of it, I think, because this world's fucking crazy, man. I've seen some of your work. Go ahead. I've seen some of your work, and I can start by playing a video, and we can go from there, and you can tell us about yourself and what you do. And here's you causing mischief, man. I really like this.
Terrorist Daniel Perrins attacked women's rights advocates in the name of male supremacy. In Ontario, Canada, the 43-year-old followed protesters to their site and exposed his agenda for male supremacy. They were there protesting slut-shaming and victim-blaming, both of which perpetuate rape culture. As I will show you, he batters them with questions, feeds them straw-man theories, and does not give them the chance to answer. Eventually, he attempts to pick a fight with a male protester, and his male supremacist leader Paul Elam labels them cowards for wearing masks. This is ironic, since many of his male supremacist followers such as Barbara Osea fail to show their faces in many of their videos. Here's the clip.
All right, so here we are. We're walking up to the cafe thing, and I don't know if you guys are catching this, but here we have the protesters that don't believe, I'm guessing.
I'm glad you've all come to confront your oppressors.
Yeah.
It's very
Thank you very much. Would any of you like to make a statement on why you're here?
There's a lot of guns on your side. Sure.
Yeah, we're all down.
Any comments?
Yeah,
no?
I think you ought to be ashamed of yourself, man.
Really?
Yep.
So you don't believe that men's rights are human rights?
I think that's a really straw man way of putting it.
Really? Well, that's what we're advocating for, is that equal?
No, wait. Hold on. What you're advocating for...
Well, you see, I'm abrasive to feminism because I find it abusive.
Oh.
It's bigotry in action. Its definition does not save it.
Well, basically men like
72 cents.
rights and then excluded other groups from that definition.
Go ahead, take my picture. I'm fully out. My name is Dan Perrins. You want my card?
Try to
I have no
claim
problem.
their human rights, and then you don't. And you think there's not room enough for the both of us, I guess.
You guys got some work to do when you're like...
Yeah, like just read a bit more. Like
We do.
Just read a bit more. Have you ever thought about that, Dan? Have you ever thought about reading a little bit more?
Yeah, I can tell you that was, I believe it was the Janus Fiamengo talk, and that was way back in, I think, really early 2013, maybe 2012. I was going there as Ontario representative for Voice for Men, their news reporter sort of deal for a Voice for Men. They had just splashed on the scene with the Warren Farrell lecture that they basically, I believe they got it shut down. And that one really, that kind of pissed me off, to put it lightly, because there was a young man there who had just lost two of his friends. And I'd say, let's see, 2013, about 30 years earlier, I lost a brother to suicide back in 1982 there. So I'm like, here we are trying to address a problem, and you folks want to shut down any talk about it. And so that kind of struck a nerve. And so when I came upon the protesters at the Janus Fiamengo talk there, I was ready to interact. I had no fears. They had tried the intimidation tactic, which really didn't work out too well, because I had just run through the ringer on the Hamilton police intimidation tactics. So the protester intimidation tactics were kind of, mediocre at best. They really, the best they could do was they doxed me. They put where I live out there, and that was about it. So their intimidation failed. The Janice Fiamengo talk was really good. She still is active in the community. She works with Studio Brule. She exposes the ills of feminism, which is something I do. Let me say it, right now, I think feminism is evil. I believe in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. I believe in section, the preamble, nation under God, rule of law. I believe in section 15, equality of services, and I believe in 28, equality between the sexes, no discrimination between the sexes. We don't need feminism. Fuck off.
That was fucking crazy talk like 5-10 years ago, but now you have packs of women saying it. Okay, so now what? Women
God bless
are
them.
saying it's bad.
And God bless them for saying it. Like,
Yes.
really, truly, because at the end of the day, the politicians listen to the women. They listen to the women's vote. And at the end of the day, they'll say we live in a patriarchy. Well, you elected the patriarchy. You elected that person. You, as a women, as a group, chose not to run for political parties or political positions, and you chose a man to do it. Okay, so
in my opinion, when you're 3 times more likely to go to jail for being a man for the same crime as a woman, when you're 80% more likely to get custody of your kids and win in family court. So if the courts are siding with one gender, how is it a patriarchy when they're siding with females? I don't get that. When the laws of the land favor someone.
Yeah, and that's you can go to the law route. The presumption of innocence. Women are automatically presumed to be innocent when any charges are filed. They are given more lenient sentences. A good slogan is that in criminal matters, it's always viewed as man bad, woman mad. So she's crazy. She's had something, some sort of trauma in the past that has affected her. Now. Well, have you asked the guys in jail that question? Have they had some sort of trauma in the past that maybe affects them now? No, they're not interested, but we have sympathy for women, but none for men.
Probably the court system. Probably the court system abused them when they were a kid. Maybe they were taken away from their parents, maybe they're foster care, but it's probably that system that abused them, and that's why they were acting out and went back into jail. That's what we've been discussing the past few episodes on mental health. It's a revolving door.
It is. I would definitely agree on that. But there are, studies are coming out showing that growing up under a single mother household compared to a single father household, the outcomes are far better. I can't rattle off statistics off the top of my head, but the vast majority of substance abusers, suicide, mental health issues. What else?
This is exactly what we've been discussing.
Teenage pregnancies come from a single mother.
Yeah.
Come from a single mother household. The majority of them.
I find as we focus on the his/her aspect of it, though, we get ourselves stuck in that veneer of the issue, because really at the root of it, there's a state above us that's allowing all of this discord to take place. And the state has played a third party register in our situation. You get married, you register it. You have a child, they're registered. The state is the third party, and if the state takes a biased position on one side or the other, so to sort of speak, because I want to be careful about how I don't want to sit here and just and start playing like, oh, men do nothing wrong and women are all evil either. To take it in balance. If you give a human being an opportunity, they're going to take it. All right. So if they set the scales at a certain way, now currently there's a rule. It's called the female presumption rule. This is a real thing. I'm not making this up. All right. So on the female presumption rule, the way it traditionally was set down, like in my time when my children's mom decided I don't want to live with you no more, she literally just got up, grabbed the children, and went in a storm and drove off with them. No violence, no nothing. Just this was the day it was over. I had no say. And when I tried to locate her and my children, she's saying that I'm stalking her. So and because of my training, because of my size, all of those optics now create this situation where the state takes a position of they got to bolster her side based on a presumption, right? And
all
so this
based.
is the problem. We get played. They play our harp. They know the child is a triggering property between the two parents, and the state takes merry measure and picking a side. And when so traditionally, right up until as the feminists will say, oh, men have all the big paychecks. So if we presume that in that relationship, the man had the greater income, just on a presumption for argument's sake, and she has the female presumption and leaves with the children. His employment condition, if he was in that family unit, was putting in a 60-hour week with 20 hours of overtime a week, and that was sustaining the family as a regular thing. When she breaks clean, he's expected to maintain that routine, and because he has to maintain that routine, now he's not with the children ever at all, and the alienation takes place. They pull different strings and they manipulate us. And at the end of the day, we sit there and fight at who's standing to pee and who's sitting to pee. And it's really fucking, I find it attack. So getting back full circle now, the fucking goddamn meat droids that stand at the veneer level, shaking fists at one another. I really believe that we as a society need to find out what both groups find offensive, and find where the state is fomenting and allowing, because that's exactly what's happening.
Well,
they can figure out a cure for a pandemic in fucking less than a year, but they can't figure out how to make families fucking work while they under their registration. Come on.
The first thing I'm going to say is that I've always said that marriage ain't what it used to be. Marriage is now a threesome with the state. It's no longer a union between two loving people under God, if you want to put it that way, or whatever you want to say. That's the first thing I'm going to say. The second thing I'm going to say, and Jay, I'm not well aware of your situation, but we have talked a little bit about it here and there. The next thing I'm going to point out is it's not a parent's right to the child; it's a child's right to both. This is where the state is fucking society up. You know what I mean?
A child is parental rights. It's parents' property. Both parents own that child until that child's at an age of consent.
Yeah, they're responsible. Yeah, I agree.
The state considers that it has an ownership share because the parent handed them off to a doctor right after it fell out of mom's hole and said, register it.
You're talking about
the Egyptian god Thoth, the stork, delivers the baby registered back to the parent. Name.
You're talking about the long form birth registry and the short and the your birth certificate, your government.
Well, that's part of the process. Yes.
I'm aware of those legal arguments, legal doctrines. I'm going to say I'm not incredibly fluent on.
Nobody is, because they don't teach you. The state is not going to teach you how to speak to your participation as an individual. The state gains nothing from you as you being aware of how you function on your individual level. The state teaches you how to participate in the state perfectly. When we were in school, they didn't tell us why the red margin line was there. They didn't tell us why the blue lines were on the paper. They didn't tell us why we underline in red and why we position things on the page in the way that we do. They never explained all of the ritual that has binding meaning in that representation of our will that we cast forward.
I know what the blue and red lines are for. It's so the nuns can wrap your knuckles with the meter stick when you go to Catholic school. That's where I went. I went to St. Augustine.
This issue of parental alienation for a while, and this topic, and the solution that I found is with informing the kids, educating the kids, like what we're doing here. If kids can be watching this show and know what they're getting into, know that maybe if there's a kid out there who hates their parent and never got to know them, maybe reach out to them. Like, please reach out to them, because there's way too many of this story that I've heard.
So what I've been doing since 2015 is I've been doing male suicide awareness walk. A lot of guys that I hear, or guys' families that I hear about, and guys' families that they've gone through family court, they've gone through fucking hell, and they've decided to take, shuffle themselves off the mortal plane. But the amount it's a large amount of guys that guys' families that come up to me and say, "Hey, family court, child, child alienation, or not being able to see their child when that child has been a daily part of their lives for however many years, and that person, that father, has struggled just to put food on the table, roof over the head, and then just be told, well, because she doesn't feel like being on time, your bi-weekly visits, or because she doesn't feel like giving up her time because it inconveniences her, she's not going to be able to drop the kid off. And the courts won't enforce visitation orders. They are reluctant to enforce visitation. As a matter of fact, I'm going to help a guy out with a protection order this Monday because he can't. The cops are reluctant to say, "Hey, stop bugging this man," to his ex. So yeah, it's nasty out there for a guy. It is absolutely crazy. And then on top of it, you talk about teaching them from their kids. Well, I'm sorry, sunshine, you'll never be a fucking girl, and you'll never fucking be a boy. You were born this way, and you know what? You can identify as a special rainbow farting unicorn, but you are not.
You're not allowed to say that, Dan. Okay, I'm gonna jump into videos here. Blind reacts. Okay, we got. I'm not even gonna tell you what it is. You're gonna give a response.
My fellow Albertans, I have some exciting news to share with you today about an important step forward for our province in protecting the rights and freedoms that are central to our identity as Albertans. In a few weeks' time, our UCP government will be introducing legislation to amend and strengthen the Alberta Bill of Rights, a document that has stood as a safeguard for our civil liberties and freedoms for decades. Since its inception, the Alberta Bill of Rights has been a reflection of our shared values, recognizing the fundamental rights and freedoms that are essential to a free and democratic society. It enshrines the principles that every Albertan holds dear: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to equality before the law, among other fundamental rights. It serves much like a constitutional document in that it ensures all...
Go ahead.
So yeah, we here in Ontario, apparently we can't say a lot of things like, I don't know, Shane Gillis just got, apparently he's being investigated for part of his comedy act where he calls Trudeau a bundle of sticks.
But that's Danielle Smith. I've been hard on her. She has produced some results lately, but I'll believe it when I see it, man. That's how I feel.
She has, as I understand it, you know what, I'm going to go back to that point that I ended off on before the video there. I believe she has protected, put protections in for kids that, are confused at a young age.
Yeah, she has. That was recently. She took gender affirming care away from teenagers.
From minors. Like, Jesus Christ! Like, what are we doing? Like really? Yeah. Like you say that gender's just a social construct, but you're gonna fucking do physical things, physical surgeries to adapt to that social construct.
You want the next generation's ego invested in identifying other than as created. Because when you identify other than as created, irregardless of how your practices are, what you express goes on the record. And recognizing the supremacy of God and rule of law, if you come in under title, which is a representation other than real, right? Job 32:21, let no flattering title be put upon man's person. So when you consent to being called Mr., Sir, unicorn, frog, cat, fucking anything other than as you fell into this dimension, then you are limited. You limit yourself by your own consent. And the state wants to create an environment that tolerates that because it works for them. Because within the limits of the rule of law, they can move the goalposts at will. Mob rules.
I was going
You listen to fools, it's going to happen to you.
I was going to say, it creates chaos. You know,
Well, chaos is their gold mine. They want chaos.
Yeah, if the children are disbelieving reality, right? You know, I can, you know, I can go say that I'm a woman tomorrow and lift 350 fucking pounds and take the fucking world record, even though I'm pretty sure I'm not a woman. But it's just distorting reality. It's disbelief of reality.
Daniel, psychologically, if you can convince an individual to accept a representation in all things, then you mitigate them from truth. And when you mitigate them from truth, you make the fucking decisions void of empathy much more easier. In a corporate exploitive situation, when empathy has been tapped a little bit, you create an opportunity of exploitation. Everybody en masse, even in a micro way, will create a macro effect for the individual that considers themselves leader. A percentage here and a percentage here of sacrifice of empathy manifests in the massive amounts of funds that they take. And really all this money, it's interesting because they print it and create it, and then they give it to you, and then they suck it back from you.
Yeah.
And your perception is it's a life source.
No, I wouldn't say they suck it back. I wouldn't say they suck it back from you. Extort it comes to mind. Blackmail. Oh, can I say blackmail?
Yeah.
Do this or else.
Mechanics are important, but yeah, the gist of it is generally as that. Yeah. And so thinking about us, I believe that us as a group, again, when they have us fighting at the veneer level, we don't create any solution for the deeper issue. We only solve the fucking problem that's directly in front of the bumper of the car. We're not prepared for the curve beyond it. And we react in a panic. And when we're doing this, they fucking love it. Because when you're like this, you're open to receive instruction. You're open to it because you're fucking, what do I do? What do I do? That's what they love.
And yeah, they do love to create panic, and they do, you know, I just seen a report today about, I think it's called Perk or something like that, but it's health. It's New Health Canada, and they just released, or they're about to release a report on the psyops that they did on the Canadians during I think it was 2019 to 2022.
This is not new tactics. This isn't new. Listen, you got a new guy on the parade square and as a recruit, and you want to test his stress level, his decision process. You don't need to expose him to fucking bombs and shit like that. Just walk in and start hammering him with drill moves. Left turn, right turn, at ease, attention. And as soon as they fuck up, get into them. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Left turn. And they just cascade. Simple movements that are known become a cascade, a fucking train wreck. And when you expose their mind and their conscious to that tsunami of stress in that environment, you inoculate them. Seems cruel, but there's a logic to it.
Yeah, it's
your vast public right now, because we've been coddled. Fucking participation awards are as big as first place. Fucking other shit and safety first, to the point we're in a Karen state, worried about fucking everyone. Wear a helmet to the fucking bathroom. That we are now been fucking so subservient. So I don't want to make a decision until but collective, what do I do? We'll be asking your computer fucking how to wipe our ass at some point.
It'll cost you 3 seashells.
One of the things that I'm afraid about with a lot of this meshing with the internet and algorithms and AI and data that's harvested in the ether is that we become completely enslaved to that ether. In the beginning, in the old order of things, the original, when we did have fucking harmony, it was word to mouth, and every behavior, act, and utterance was precise, and people would take 20-year journeys, and not everybody'd fucking make that journey. If you committed yourself to that journey of logic for 20 years, and at year 18, you fucking fell off the fucking wagon, and you can't fucking afford to put blisters on your hands to fucking do labor, Like, trust me, it is a big deal when these people took these men. Now fucking, DEI, make her a judge. Fucking, it is insane.
Didn't earn it is insane.
All of the hurdles in Odyssey that harden a soul and temperate to make proper judgment are not there now. And people value their title more than they do the will of man because they don't fucking put any effort into the fucking title that they have attained in that way.
Well, to paraphrase, Martin Luther King, to paraphrase him, didn't he say something about I dream of a day when my child will be judged upon the content of his skill and not the color of his character? Like, fuck it. Didn't we fuck that up somewhere along the lines there? Where
I'll give a personal example of a situation because I don't want to use anybody else's. I'll use myself. My young son. All right, he's high functioning autistic, and so when he was in grade 6, he was being tormented all the time, and I was trying to manage him through that, and the school was allowing it to happen, and so there was that going on at the same time. But at any rate, on a playground field, an elderly teacher lady who wasn't very nice, but at the same time, Colin has conduct that he's supposed to follow, and I shouldn't say his name, but he didn't like an outcome that she gave, and he pushed her. And at that time, my son was starting to explore with aggression. Now he's seen me walk through life, so he has an impression that way. And he was at that crossroads. He was at that fucking point as a young man at age 12. And so I had to sit down and talk to him about it. And I said, listen, you can't do that. You don't like that decision that came out. You got to bite your fucking lip. You got to look at your laces. You got to walk to another side and you got to think about it. You got to unpack it. You got to think about it 5 ways from Sunday before you say anything about it. Because if you don't have a position to stand on, you're going to get lost. If you get lost, you're going to panic. And if you panic, you're going to push old ladies down. And then you're going to be held accountable for it. You're going to be like a fucking confused chimp running around fucking not knowing what to do, knocking tires everywhere. He got up. He was mad. And he did one of these to me. My reaction was decisive and swift. And he saw a purple flash and felt a stinging open my palm up the side of his fucking face. Now, I believe that was appropriate. I stand in it. I did then, and I don't take it back. And I told him then, as he sat there holding his face with his mouth gaping open and shocked that I fucking did that to him. I said, you fucking consider yourself lucky that was me that fucking did that. You pull that shit on somebody down on fucking Barton Street in the East End of fucking Hamilton, they're going to put their hands on the wall. They're going to stomp on your fucking head till it's mush. You fucking idiot. Don't play tough guy. Don't fucking go walking into situations with people 3 times bigger than you, raising your hand, think you're going to fucking intimidate. And because children aren't getting this type of fucking conduct training from their fathers, and it's necessary. It's fucking necessary. You need to be able to be accountable by somebody. And the state's now saying that some cop can come in and do it instead. And they do, and worse.
There's stories of 7 or 8 year olds being arrested. So, yeah, it is. It's happening. And I would agree with you, we aren't teaching kids consequences. We ain't, we're telling them fucking, there are no consequences. There's no reality. Reality is what you make of it.
Go back to that situation of father that works 60 hours a week. And I'm not judging in that either. I'm just saying that situation, and the mother's at home with a child that's preschool. My experiences in my life up to this point, I won't say that everybody's the same, but they've generally been the child sitting in a jolly jumper in front of the fucking TV, watching some cartoon or Baby Einstein. I'm going to use the Baby Einstein thing because that's a specific one from a generation where my children were growing up. I hated that fucking program.
I can't say
when I looked at it, all I saw was primary shapes, primary colors, all fucking nothing natural. Never in that fucking show did you see a natural sequence of things. And what it is psychologically designed to do is that child then, when it leaves the home and goes into a daycare or fucking into the school system, left alone in a natural environment for longer than a couple seconds, anxiety visits and it finds a collective. It seeks fucking safety. The child will fucking run to the teacher, run to the state, run to a group, and it programs children like teamwork. And when you're dependent on a group, shame tactics work because you're completely tethered to this fucking acceptance of a collective. You don't know how to be independent alone in a field. and you have to.
That's cancel culture in a nutshell right now. That's all it is. Shame, shame tactics. So this person doesn't believe what the true believer says, or what Kamala says, or whatever, and so this person should be shunned, should be kicked out of society, and that plays in a lot of people's inner fears.
What's a strength on the left that the left has? You see, what the left has as a strength is in the last 15 years, those people that make up the left, and it was by design. This was all done through engineering, social engineering. They felt and they were told, you're a minority. You feel fucking danger, feels fucking so, and to the point where everybody feels sorry for them. And when that common empathy is present, then they make a team because they've experienced independence of their own, standing in their own position against a majority in their existence, in their near past. They're strong because of that. They can fracture and independently be fucking independently. Whereas on the other side, if you want to look at it, and this isn't a broad macro look, always accepted in the team, first pick, fucking everything, popular fucking guy, girl in school, all so there's an investment in that fucking in their psyche. And so these two different dynamics are played against one another. I would argue the right's weakness is that by majority, a lot of them, and within them, there's a few individuals that stood as an individual in the past, like yourself, Daniel, like you've stood this before anybody really else was. I
got that first video is from over 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm. The ultimate goal, it seems to get them on medication. It seems to fuck with their heads, the kids, and then make them docile, and then fuck them up with medication. I got another video here. Just watch it. We'll react to this.
Antidepressants gave me brain damage. Psych meds aren't as safe as the doctors make them out to be. So I'm sharing the truth on the extreme injuries they cause and the side effects that doctors don't tell you about. I was only 7 years old when I was wrongfully overprescribed medications. For years, I told my doctor how awful the medicine made me feel. He dismissed me saying medication can't do that and blamed it on my OCD and anxiety and pushed more meds on me telling me I needed them. I was always met with resistance and had my lived experience invalidated. I questioned and doubted myself. After 15 years of being brainwashed and carelessly medicated, I made the decision to come off for good. My doctor lowered my dose over 4 short weeks, making me debilitatingly sick. I was in constant excruciating pain in my body and mind and left bedridden and disabled. I had vision loss, burning in my entire body, intense dissociation, delirium, uncontrollable shaking, and pure mental agony. It was torment I could not escape. I felt like a raw, exposed nerve, light and sound physically hurt. I could not think and had trouble communicating. I was terrified, not knowing what was happening in my body. I was in severe withdrawal from coming off my SSRIs. My doctor said withdrawal was all in my head, telling me it was just my OCD and anxiety getting worse. I felt completely powerless as I had to prove my injury all while I was in unimaginable pain and suffering. I have a host of health issues from these pills. I have cognitive deficits, neuropathy, autoimmune issues, and much more.
Well,
yeah, I think. I think that the new fad is the gender therapy drugs. They've run the course for the psycho drugs. They can't sell them good anymore or as much anymore. So hey, we'll just introduce some gender craziness.
Yeah.
I got a boy I haven't talked to in over 3 years, and I don't know if he's had a vaccine. I don't know if he's been to the hospital for what, I wish I knew. And I'm terrified because I know the truth, and people don't want to have these fucking discussions. So at least I can have my show where I can tell people so I can deal with it. But
yeah, it's I'm sorry to hear that there's some parental alienation going on there, and that is it's a tough go. I don't think I could. I don't know what I would do. That kind of held me back, over the years. I'm kind of like, geez, I don't know if I could do that. I think I would go really, really badly off the deep end. So maybe I'll just kind of wait and see how how things play out. But,
I've walked a couple guys through stuff, and successfully, I think. Really, I consider it successful. Where they like I say to them, first of all, what my journey was like 15 years ago, and let them know how much better it is right now. And then I advise them, listen, when the alienation, if you feel it's present, you're dealing with a sandcastle of ash. And the more you touch it, the more it's going to fuck up. The smartest thing you can do is figure out a method in which you can maintain a communication and not interfere with like, you know what I mean? Just a smoke signal that lets them know that you know that they still exist and you love them. If you can find some kind of smoke signal, you can send them and they will come around.
Well,
anything you do to fight it, it's going to cost you massive money. It's going to not get you anywhere. It's only going to continually toxify your soul. You're going to try to force a situation that everything's going to work against you. And I don't know, like when you look at it, my view in hindsight, all the fighting that I did, and I'm a fighter, all the fighting that I fucking did, I think I did more damage than good at some point because the system isn't designed to let you achieve what you want.
No, it's there to make you. It's there to make you jump through hoops. And there's a real, actually, the most famous case that I can think of is the Elaine Campione case, and that was where she drowned her two daughters here in I think it was Barrie, Ontario, and so family and divorce happens, and she makes allegations that he's this, he's that. She says that he's a substance abuser. He goes through the 12-step program sort of deal. The counselor says, wait a minute here, I don't think this guy's a substance abuser at all, sort of deal. So he gets that letter, and everything, all her allegations just fall apart. And so her last move was that she was going to in all honesty, it seems like she was just out for revenge against her ex-husband. She planned on drowning the two kids and then ending her own life, but she failed in ending her own life. And I remember even the judge was so sold on her story that he was the devil himself, that he expressed sympathy for her from the bench, even despite finding her guilty and overwhelming evidence that she had manufactured lies against this gentleman in court. And just a heartbreaking story. But that's one of the more famous ones that happened, and I still refer back to it. And this
what did
is
she get? What was her penalty? Her sentence?
She got incarcerated. I think probably probably 15 years or 20 years or something like that.
If the best interest of the child is the priority of the state in family law matters, and legal representatives are representing the parents, what vicarious liability do the legal representatives have for fucking outcomes that are fucking bad?
Well,
why is it visited upon the parents? Why is the fucking representation that failed to fucking speak in logic and be a stop to it all not fucking held vicariously accountable?
Or the entire system.
Well,
like in my case, it was the court reporters, the court workers. Like it's not just the lawyers, man. They're all in on it.
Well,
because you're dealing with a registered agent. You're not dealing. You're dealing with a registered. You're an entity. The child is an entity when the state's involved. Plain and simple. You're dealing with someone that's registered as a Canadian.
And the courts make their money. The lawyers make their money. Everybody goes poor, but the family. The most important. What's supposed to be the most important. The
lawyer that fucking just about bankrupted me, she fucking was running for city councilor in Saskatoon, and she wrote in the leader post in the newspaper about the problem with all the homeless people downtown, and she posted it on her Facebook. So I commented, I'm like, you probably put them there, you crazy bitch. Fuck.
There's a case out of Alberta called Meads v. Meads, and it's about a couple that had a custody battle, and the father made a common law in terms of the Interpretation Act of Canada, Section 8.1. He made a proper argument. The state didn't like it, and they did a closed door ruling. And basically, what it summed up to, the way it works out is like this: when you have a child with somebody has a child with you, or whatever, however you wanted to fucking explain that, and the child's passed off and then registered, and then the short form birth certificate for the state agent is created. Then at that point, there forward, an agreement's made between the parents and the state in this trifecta. And so two of the party make a decision regarding the child. They outweigh the fucking third person. So when parents break up, it is absolutely guaranteed that one parent's going to fucking, at a minimum, lawyer up and invite the state into the situation. Then you're outnumbered. It's set. It's a set game, biased. It goes against you from the fucking very start. And the state says, how do we best benefit with where would the child land where we have more control over all of these people? Well, if we leave it with the mother who's got the lower income, and we refuse to let the father then adjust his working lifestyle because he's making this much money, fucking, we make a slave out of the father. The mom's completely fucking loving us against dad. And the child will vicariously do the same fucking thing. And we'll have them all. And when that child grows up, we've now advanced the default setting in their mind to continue our agenda forward in order to fucking completely remove any idea that they have towards their fucking empowerment to speak to things. They removed the Lord's Prayer when we were kids from fucking school for a reason. It was the beginning of this.
Okay, so said something there.
I'm gonna hit a video.
We are mass poisoning this generation of kids. We saw this explosion of neurodevelopmental disorders. So ADD, ADHD, speech delay, language delay, tics, sleep disorders, Tourette's syndrome, narcolepsy, ASD, autism, all these diseases that prior to 1989, we never heard of them.
Right.
We didn't know anybody who had them. And then all the autoimmune diseases suddenly exploded that year. Juvenile diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, these exotic diseases like Crohn's disease and lupus. Suddenly everybody, all these kids are sick. And the allergic diseases suddenly appeared. Again in 1989, or in that area, early 90s, peanut allergy.
Intention.
I had 11 siblings, 70 cousins. I didn't know anybody with a food allergy.
Disable the conscious
5 of my kids
discernment of a generation.
These anaphylactic allergies. Why are there EpiPens in every classroom? Why are there albuterol inhalers? Asthma exploded. I had a brother who had asthma, and his doctor told him there will never be a cure for this disease because it's so rare that no research will ever study it. Well, now 1 out of every 8 black kids has asthma. So what happened? Something happened. There's no other country that has this. We have the highest chronic disease burden in the world. Why are we so sick? And why is nobody looking at that and saying, we know that it's an environmental toxin. Genes don't cause epidemic. Congress actually told EPA to study the issue of what year the autism epidemic began. So I'm 69, and among 69-year-old men today, 1 in 10,000 has full-blown autism. Nonverbal, non-toilet trained, stimming, toe walking. The EPA actually came back with a real study. And what they said in that study is that 1989 was a red line. That's the year it started. And if you look at 1989, all of these other injuries began appearing around that time period. Why are we not looking at this? Why is NIH refusing to fund these studies? NIH has a $42 billion annual budget. When I was a kid, NIH was the gold standard research organization in the world. But what's happened over the past 50 years is NIH has shifted its focus, and it doesn't do that kind of science. It's supposed to tell us, what's making us sick, what's the threat. It doesn't do that. What it does is it tries to monetize science for the pharmaceutical industry.
Weaken a body as soon as it comes into this world, weaken it. Plant the seeds that weaken it. Not a baby Einstein scenario about the panicking that sets in. When a body is at a level of weakness, it's more ready to receive any kind of assistance or fucking cry as a victim. Fucking, it's at that snap point quicker. That was done with an intention. Knowing what was going to fucking be done to us now. Nothing's by accident.
Well, they definitely got profit in mind, I'd say.
Oh yeah.
Give them diabetes. Oh, we got them hooked for life. Give them asthma. We got them hooked for life. Create an environment to, increase those.
We're over here in the Western world. We have these pharmaceuticals, and we're about to go to war, right? This is preemptive, destroying our fucking army before we can build it, in my opinion. Because if you look at Russia and you look at the East, they don't have the same issues.
No, you put down 3 generations of men that have been just completely demasculated to the point where when they wake up and to the point that they have a penis, look at it and go, ah, you know? Like,
well, the running joke around here kind of deal with guys that I talk to. Like, you know, and just imagine the battlefield. Oh, what's your pronouns before I shoot you? Fucking yeah.
Where we grew up in Dundas and the Hamilton Wentworth area, the line between a thug and like there was tough guys and they were a minority, and then everything else was just, hey, Parkside, come on.
Anyway,
Yeah,
now
hold
on. I remember what I was gonna mention earlier there. Okay, Jay, you should look up the Willie Lynch letters. Okay, and the Willie Lynch letter about how to create a slave population, and you remove father figure, and we'll get you. And there are ways to, create state as the father figure or the plantation owner.
When I was over in the Eastern Europe on operations and that, despite the politic of the area, despite the everything else, the way the family units were run, I mean, the respect within the household, and it was pretty much a patriarchal arrangement that was in place, and I acknowledge that. But the ones that I saw that I found that were most highest functioning, like as far as like you saw, it radiated goodness. Every role was respected within that household, and it was enforced correctly. Like everybody respected, like, for example, the man of the house was the man of the house in the sense of the thing, but everybody acknowledged the fact that mom, the matriarch of the house, like nobody ate if she didn't do her part, and she got equal respect. It was just a different kind of respect. The punishment she could put was just, you'll eat lentil soup only for a fucking week.
Well, it's like, or wait till your father gets home. Remember that cartoon?
I found a unity and an order that was there, and it was because it was old.
Yeah,
it was closer to unchanged, and I found that interesting. So I don't know. Like a family's here, and it's just crazy. Everybody's handing their kid off to somebody else to teach them to be something, because no parent seems capable to teach their kid to do anything. They're sending them off to this coach, this tutor, that teacher, and then bragging about it like they're fucking special because they do that.
Well, because they got the money to do that, but they'll, that.
Well, it's weakness.
It is.
I'm an idiot, but I can afford to send my child everywhere else. Sorry,
that's okay. We got 10 minutes, and I got a doozy of a video I got to play, and I want to play it because it might hurt Selgovae's feelings because he likes Trump a bit. Here we go.
Okay.
Because what do you mean? Trump started his sketchy modeling agency where he would bring underage models into the U.S. to work illegally on travel visas right after he became BFFs with Diddy. And no one is reporting on it. Let's start with a little history as to why this timing is especially sketchy. It is the 90s and Trump is in debt and everyone knows it. But then creditors start valuing his brand out of nowhere and his finances start improving. But what was Trump doing during this time? If you guessed that he struck a business deal hosting and sponsoring parties with teenage girls who were as young as 14 and the average age being 15 for rich old men, you would be right. He hosted Look of the Year on large private yachts and in his Plaza Hotel, where teenage girls danced around in dresses and miniskirts for rich old men for their chance to win a contract with the world's then leading modeling agency, Elite Model Management, run by John Casablancas. And you might be thinking, how would this boost his brand alone? Well, the parties were used as a way for the rich old men to engage in schmexual relationships with the contestants. And Casablancas wasn't the only one Trump was hosting and sponsoring parties for. Trump asked American Dream Calendar Girls beauty contest owner to organize a party with his pageant finalists, saying he would invite modeling agencies and prospective sponsors. But the only other guest who was invited was Jeffrey Epstein. And then what starts to happen? Rappers start dropping Trump's name about how he was the personification of wealth and luxury, which significantly helped boost his brand. Even though his finances said otherwise, and so did the newspapers, Trump knew that no one would care about your finances if you provided rich and powerful men with young impressionable teen models at lavish parties. And then he really started getting his name dropped in raps around 1998. And what happened that year? He became good friends with Diddy and started going to all of his parties. And then the the next year, he started, surprise, surprise, a modeling agency, where Diddy's favorite party guest, Leonardo DiCaprio, gushed to the Donald saying, wow, one-stop date shopping. What a concept. And Trump would not only fly in underage aspiring models, have them come into the US on a tourist visa and work illegally, which is hilarious since he talks so much about illegal immigrants being the downfall of America. He also...
You know they eat babies.
I thought that was fucking funny. Anyways.
Well, no,
well, she got the receipt.
I'm just saying there's nobody to trust. Please, nobody go to the fucking ballot box and think that's going to solve anything. Please stop doing that. That's insanity. We're all mentally ill at this point and we've been traumatized and abused, but stop going to the fucking ballot box pretending that's going to solve anything. When the candidate calls you this election season, repeat after me. Go fuck yourself, please, and then go click.
So to that video, I'm going to say that it right now there's so much that's come out about a side that hates Trump with those claims, those exact claims, and lots of evidence. So the fact that a counter dialogue that has broad language that's highly suggestive to one side of things, and I'm not making excuses. I'm not justifying nothing. All right. I stopped going to bars at age 29 because I started feeling a little creepy by fucking seeing like clearly 17-year-old girls that were somehow lit in there walking around. It just fucking was like, I felt bad being there in that environment. However, age of consent is what it is. So I can't really judge about that. My math has always been divide your age by 2 and add 7. You'll never go wrong. Anyhow, fucking this situation, I'd like to see it unpacked. And why wasn't it brought up before? Why didn't the Democrats bring it up before?
I think that's a fucking thing, man. Like 15-year-old models, like there's
that's nothing new.
Yeah, there's always been 15-year-old models. Like that's what like New York is famous. Oh, I'm going to New York to become a model. I'm running away from home.
You know what it is? It's when you're rich and powerful, like that video I played the other day, and how he said how like homosexuality is common amongst these. He said basically it comes with the money. Now it's like fuck you, you do what you want.
They're actors. They're professional representatives. They absolutely must represent every single thing. Like the God that they worship, the craft and the guild to which they're under is about representation. Everything is other than created. The better at it you are, the better of an actor you are.
Yeah, that's it's really interesting the times we're in, and then everything you see now with the advent of AI, everything you see, I find myself questioning it. It's like, well, maybe not. Who knows? There's some really good. Apparently, there's a really good Kamala Harris AI generated ad campaign or something, and it's funny as hell.
It's getting better and better week by week. I'm noticing the improvements on what is real and what is not, and I'm pretty good. I have a background at College of Computer Graphics, so I have a pretty good idea of Photoshop and what AI can do, and it's getting really good, really fast.
Yeah, that leads us to like, okay, oh, sorry guys. I mentioned one Arnold Schwarzenegger movie already. It was Sylvester Stallone with the 3 seashells there. What the fuck was it? Where he
Return to Mars or something like that.
No.
Judge Dredd.
No, not Judge Dredd. It was something else.
No,
but
Judge Dredd.
No, Judge Dredd. He was always a judge. This one, he gets thawed out after however many years.
That's Judge Dredd, because they're all judges in the future, and they're like police, but they're all judges. And he said it was police. Yeah.
What I was gonna. The other one I'm gonna mention is the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, The Running Man. And if you remember the beginning of that, where he's flying the helicopter and he's like, "There aren't armed civilians. I want to shoot them." And then they AI altered the video.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they've had this for a while. I got one more video, okay, and we got like 4 minutes left.
All right.
And this one's a doozy. This one just came out yesterday, and they're saying it right out in the open.
You know they eat babies. That is not bullshit. It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood. They do, Tucker. Stop staring at me like that.
You're freaking me out, man. Because you
do.
spent your life in the entertainment business, so I think you have some authority on this.
So many kids that I was in mental institutions with over the years, they are all from those cults. And they've covered it all up. They covered it all up. And, you know, I just pray to God. I'm just going to pray to God that he opens everybody's eyes in this country. By the time we go in to vote for Trump, that he will open up everybody's eyes and they will stop pretending to be asleep. You know what they say, you can't wake people up that are pretending to be asleep, but I pray to God, please wake up even those who are pretending to be asleep with the irrefutable truth of what the worst people on this planet are really up to. They are really up to that. They're doing it.
Yep.
There are so many victims. There are so many victims. There are so many children victims that are now adults. The epidemic in America is child sexual abuse, and I just want people to see it. I want people to open up their eyes and see how prevalent and horrible it is. 1 of 3 girls, 1 of 4 boys in this country today. It's just horrible, and you just can't lie it away anymore. It's going to get more and more apparent, and you got to choose your side.
Yep. Planned Parenthood, the music industry, all the endorsement of let's fuck, the promotion of porn and all that creates human behavior that has these pregnancies. And then they turn around and say, well, the rape victim and the woman that was forced and her whole career. Listen, if I have to go out and get a firearms license so I don't fucking accidentally shoot through my wall and kill a neighbor, and I safely handle my firearm, then where's the same care and diligence given to a life that's created and the responsibility that's put to it? We've taken away all empathy and thought of accountability for our actions. And when we remove that and we mitigate it, and it's the destruction of a created life for a fucking nanosecond of and popping a load in somebody's face, or that's where it should go. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just so fucking and then it creates the situation where they're creating all of this byproduct that they want. Stem cells that they use, and they have. This has been going on forever.
Well, let me think here. Well, Skin Medica uses fucking baby foreskin for its facial cream. That's what fucking
they
Oprah.
tell you. That's what they tell you. Well, what the fuck are you going to market that on an Ellen DeGeneres show to a
Actually, it was Oprah. Oprah marketed it. Skin Medica.
A number of shows. You're going to market that to it, and that just testifies more to my point. You're going to market it to a fucking globe. Where are you going to fill that demand? How are you going to fucking? Where are all these fucking foreskins coming from? They make that many of them in
from the foreskin factory.
The other
take us
thing
home.
is,
We're gonna wrap it up. We only go for an hour. You, what's your social media? Where can people find you and watch you? And
I'm you can read. I write for Male Psychology magazine. You can find some of my writing there. I've written for my YouTube videos is kind of dead. I'm fairly active on X or Twitter under Blackbeard 2009-6. If you don't know that historical reference, his name was Blackbeard's name was Edward Beach. Maybe I'll teach you something there. Maybe
we'll put a link. Put a link in the comments here on Facebook.
What else would I say? Men matter. Men matter just as much as women, no more, no less. It's enshrined in our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And fuck, don't our politicians and all our government employees swear an oath to that Charter of Rights and Freedoms? And isn't it about time that they uphold those Charter of Rights and Freedoms? And shouldn't Canada's sons' mental health matter as much as its daughters? That's my question.
I believe so. Thank you for coming today, buddy.
Yeah, bro. Thanks.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Really appreciate it.
I suggest you go check out this change.org, the People's Proclamation. That's my thing. 2 paragraphs trying to get everybody to agree on one thing. Check it out. I think you'll like it. I think you'll sign it, and it puts a mailing list for everybody as well. So what I'm thinking is one day we need another general strike. The convoy was a general strike, and one day it's going to happen again.
Where's our flag?
Nobody wants to know where the fucking flag is in the courtroom. I think it's a good question, you know. Anyways, we're gonna be back Saturday with who's Saturday, Selgovae?
I think you have that
nurses.
covered. It's a nurse.
Nurses on frontline nurses. That's who it is. I think maybe.
Right
I
on.
don't know. I don't let you know. Thanks, Dad.
Follow us for more, Dan. I'd like to have you back again sometime in the future. Follow up on some of the journeys and ventures that you do with your wagon and Charger there.
Absolutely. Actually, Charger's sitting right here. Where are you? Here, come here.
Yeah, take a look at him.
There he is.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
It's got mileage, man.
Yeah. We walked off from Dundas to Ottawa one year.
Yep.
Nice. All right. Good night, buddy. Good night, guys.
Cheers,
the only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion.